Hey everyone, what's up? My name is Joss and welcome back to my channel squibblesreads. Today I'm going to be letting you guys know what some of my most anticipated releases are for the months of January to March, so the first 3 months or the first quarter of 2017. This is like one of my favorite videos to prepare for because it was kind of like a scavenger hunt, just looking for books and knowing that there is going to be a release date somewhere in the future for them. I don't know, I just got like this weird heady sense of like anticipation for them. This made me more excited for books and for filming videos, which if you guys saw like my chit chat get ready with me, you will know that I kind of have been lacking like motivation. I just want to come home and sleep rather than read or make videos. So this is kind of like a nice change of pace for me, being excited about books again, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, I think I have like 14 books to talk about today. I'm going to go chronologically in order of release date. This intro is already super long and I have a ton of books to talk about, so let's just get right into it. Book number 1 comes out very soon and it is Difficult Women by Roxane Gay. I believe this is a collection of short stories that tell different women's stories through privilege and through poverty. So for example, there is one woman who is married to her husband who is a twin, and she has to for some reason pretend like she doesn't know when they are impersonating one another. There's another story about a stripper who is also a college student and she uses her earnings to fund her schooling, but unfortunately there is a customer that is coming onto her very strong and she has to find a way to deal with that. Another story talks about an African-American female engineer who moves to Michigan and she is trying to escape from her past, but her coworkers become really nosy about what has happened to her. So basically just stuff like that. I really like short stories. I really like Roxane Gay. She also wrote Bad Feminist, which I did enjoy, so really looking forward to this one. Book number 2 comes out on January 10th and it is called Dead Gone by Luca Vesti. I do believe that it is out elsewhere in the world, but I don't know where. There's a body of a student and it is found at the City of Liverpool University, and attached to that body is a letter saying that the person who killed the student tried to do some type of unethical psychological experiment, which was a replication of an experiment that was done in the past without any ethics, which resulted in her death. There are more and more bodies that are found with similar letters that are attached, and all of these bodies are somehow associated with the university. So it talks about like psychology, ethics. I really hope that this is done well because this is totally up my alley. I'm really excited because I have an arc of this. I'm going to be reading it on vacation. So on January 17th, History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera is coming out. This is a book about Theo, who is Griffin's first love and ex-boyfriend, and he has died in a drowning accident. So Theo started dating this new guy named Jackson, and Griffin is now finding solace and comfort in Jackson through his grief. However, even though Theo and Jackson were dating, Griffin has always wanted to get back together with Theo, and he just finds himself making more and more destructive choices as time goes on. Then on January 24th, this is one of the books that I am the most excited about in this list. It is called Allegedly by Tiffany D. Jackson. So we have Mary, who is an African-American girl who was accused and convicted of killing a white baby who was, I believe, under the care of Mary and also her church-going mother. And I think when the baby died, Mary was 9 years old. So then she spent 6 years in some kind of jail, and then they moved her to a group home where she really does not feel at home at all. Then she meets a guy named Ted, and there's something in the blurb about her unborn child, so I'm guessing that she and Ted have a baby together, and then the state tries to take that baby away because they know about her past, and then there is a big ordeal. Thankfully, I also have an arc on this one, so definitely another vacation book. So now we are moving into February. So on February 1st, we have Pachinko by Min Jin Lee that is coming out. Min Jin Lee also wrote Free Food for Millionaires, and Pachinko is a Korean family saga, so we go through a few generations of people. We start with Sunja, who is a pregnant teenager, and this pregnancy has brought some shame to her family, and unfortunately the father of the baby has also left her. So a young minister offers to marry her and take her to Japan, and the story and the saga go on from there. This next book is all sorts of OMG yes, and this book is The Good People by Hannah Kent. Hannah Kent is of course the author of Burial Rites, which is one of my favorite books that I compare literally every other book that I read to. It is there on my shelf, there, right there. So this is a book that is set in Ireland in 1825. It also comes out on February 7th, I don't know if I mentioned that, but it is about a woman named Nora. She's lost her daughter and her husband in the same year, and she's taking care of her 4-year-old grandson, but she enlists the help of a 14-year-old girl named Mary. The 4-year-old cannot walk or speak, and Nora hides him away for some reason. I think he has some sort of disability. This is not entirely clear on the blurb, so I'm not really sure. I don't really know what happens after that, but there's something about this ominous group of people called the Good People, and all of those letters are capitalized, like the first letter of each word is capitalized, so I'm not really sure what that quite means. I think there could be like some supernatural or some like non-human element to this. I don't really know. All I know is that it's Hannah Kent, and I'm very excited for it. Also on February 7th is the American release of 6-4 by Hideo Yokoyama. This is a Japanese crime fiction novel. So in 1989, the parents of a kidnapped 7-year-old young Tokyo schoolgirl listened to the many demands of her kidnapper. Unfortunately, they never find out who the kidnapper is, and they never recover their daughter. So over the course of the next 14 years, the police botch the investigation, they keep apologizing, and they're really, really pissed at the police. And then in 2002, there is some kind of reporter, I think, that unearths something really big, and then the whole case is blown wide open again. Then on Valentine's Day, February 14th, there are 2 new releases that I'm excited for. The first one is We Are Okay by Nina LaCour, who is the author of Everything Leads to You, which is a book that I really, really enjoyed. This is a book about a girl named Marin, or Marin. She has moved from California to New York to escape something that happened in her past, especially in the last little while before she moved. She also has a best friend named Mabel who goes to visit her one day. That's basically all the blurb says. I believe that one or more characters identify as one or more of the letters in LGBTQIA+. And again, I really did love Nina LaCour's other book, so I will definitely be picking this one up. Also on February 14th, we have Piecing Me Together by Renee Watson. I've never read any Renee Watson. Apparently she has quite a few works out, and I think that this is going to be a good place to start. So this is about an African-American girl named Jade. She really wants to get out of her neighborhood. It's kind of a lower socioeconomic status neighborhood, so she takes an opportunity for a full scholarship at a mostly white private school. However, there is an invitation to join a women-to-women type of mentorship group, I believe. This is a group for at-risk girls, but she finds out that at-risk really in this group means African American from what the institution considers bad neighborhood. This one sounds like something that I could really love and also really learn from. On February 28th, Waking Lions by Ayelet Gundar Goshen. I am totally sorry if I did not pronounce that correctly. I think this is a thrillery type book. It's about a doctor whose name is Aton Green, and one day when he is driving home from work, he is someone who really cares a lot for people and their bodies. So one day when he's driving home from work, unfortunately, he does hit someone with his car, and this person turns out to be an African migrant. He freaks out when he sees that this guy is beyond help, and he flees the scene, but this guy's wife comes to Dr. Green's house the next day and asks for something, which is not money. The blurb, of course, does not say what it is, but I hella want to know what it is, so I'll definitely be reading this. Moving into the month of March, we have Exit West by Mohsin Hamid. We have 2 people in the story. One of them is a really fierce, awesome woman whose name is Nadia, and the other one who is more gentle and restrained, and his name is Saeed. They start some kind of intimate relationship, and they live in a mostly Muslim dominant city. The blurb says that it explodes, and the 2 of them flee for their homeland. Again, on March 7th, one of my more anticipated reads on this list, this is The Impossible Fairytale by Han Yu-ju. This one is a little bit hard to describe, but there are 2 grade school girls. The first one is Mia. She is incredibly wealthy and has a lot of things just given to her and spoiled by her parents. And then there is another kid who is not like lucky or unlucky and just kind of like exists, who is more the opposite of Mia, and this kid is called The Child, with like, again, capital T, capital C. The children at their school are somehow consumed by this murderous rage, and the child goes around to each of their classmates' notebooks and writes these weird, creepy, ominous sentences in them. This ends up in a series of really violent events. So that's the first half of the book. In the second half of the book, it starts with a teacher who wakes up from a dream and somehow knows what the child is doing or what the child did. I don't really know. That part of the blurb is kind of vague. Obviously, I don't know much else, but that just sounds super good. The Wanderers by Meg Howry comes out on March 14th, and people are calling it Station 11 Meets the Martian, which is totally awesome. There are 3 astronauts which are training for their first mission on Mars, and they are going to be the first humans to ever land on Mars if we can pretend that the Martian never existed and that dude from the Martian never landed on Mars. The blurb doesn't say much beyond like their names and just a little bit more about the names of stuff in the mission. But this kind of sounds like one of my favorite books called And Again by Jessica Chiarella, one of my favorite books of the year. Also, again, sounds like Station 11, so really excited for this one. Also on March 14th is A Closed and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers. This is like the sequel or companion novel or something to The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, which was on my sci-fi books TBR. I haven't read it, but literally like a million people have told me that I would love it. So I'm going to bring that one on vacation, and I have an arc of this one, so I will just read them all together. So yeah, those are the books that I am most excited for that are coming out between January and March of 2017. I had to cut a few out because I wanted to get this video down to a decent length. If there are any books that I did not mention that you guys are excited for, please do let me know in the comments down below. They don't just have to be from January to March. Literally anything from 2017 is great. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Bye!